Anyway,
Chief, I've got a, you said you had 167 calls. How many of those were
Now they got their
like
pizza and beer.
businesses contacting you or just private citizens, or
I would say probably about 30 to 40 of those
were individual citizens?
citizens or the hospital want to know if we're shutting off the water or NORAM, just things like that.
Well,
Or where can I get sandbags?
yeah, I
or-
mean, you're in the middle of a significant event. And what I'm wondering, and I know that our friends in the media will do as much as they can to get the word out, but should we think about some sort of more formalized communication where people can go, whether it's social media, whether it's a dedicated number that they
Yeah,
call?
we
or something?
didn't,
I mean, you had your hands full and
I had, the
take all
nice
those
thing
phone
was I had
calls.
staff with me, Brad, so, I mean, I had people taking notes and writing things down, and when I started getting busy on the phone, they were doing the checks of certain things that we were delegating that out so I could do that. I think sometimes people, you know, they have my phone number, it's on the website, and I gotta get an answer right now, and
Right.
9 times out of 10, I answer my phone.
Yeah. and
When I
that's-
can, you know,
which
or I call them back. you know.
Well, I certainly, speaking on behalf of the council, I certainly appreciate the updates. I didn't have many people asking me questions, but again, you guys are in the middle of all of the, middle of the fire here, and you've got people that are asking you,
Well, and some of
when
the
can I
problems-
water my yard?
Some of the problems we run into is like Clem was down.
Yeah,
A lot of times we can do, and I had Dave Rudin on speed dial, he was working it from Illinois, but then we had to shut the transmitter down because it flooded out there.
Right.
So we had no radio.
yeah.
So the only other thing we have left is the media channels, which we have with KTIV and KCAU, where we can go in and do the emergency alert system and that, and put out an alert to tell people you need to evacuate or you need to do this. We also have PA systems in our vehicles and things like that. But when you just get the general question of,
And that's really what that's what I'm
That's-
talking about, is there a way to communicate, the water's not gonna be shut off, I mean, just.
it's just tough to do. I mean, Rich took them, I took them. They're calling the department heads because that's who we are, that's who they know.
And I don't know if we'd be able to train the general public
Yeah,
well
I don't
enough or
think,
not.
Clark's shaking his head, I don't think you can. I don't think you can,
I don't
Social
know that-
media is powerful.
yeah. Very powerful.
It is, but it's also powerful on the negative
what I mean.
side.
Right.
And so,
It's hard to even get the right word out because they think it's fraud.
right, right.
I know.
It's
Or parody.
crazy.
Or a website, and people won't even go to it to check for updates. So, yeah, it's just kind of.
But I just want to say thanks, and thanks to you guys, and thanks to our city staff and everybody that steps up time and time again. I said this is our third 500-year flood in 15 years I've been here. So we know what to do, and that's the nice thing. All you got to do is call somebody, hey, we need this done. You don't have to tell them how to do it. They know their job. These guys are great, all the city department heads and people. We've got good, experienced people in good positions, I think, and it makes it work, so.
I agree.
Thank you.
Chief.
Bit of a double-edged sword when you've been through it before. You get pretty good at it, but I don't want to get good at it necessarily. All right, Joe, do you have anything?
No, I'm not gonna follow that up.
Mark?
A few things. The library, I know, has loaned a couple of laptops to the Rock Valley Library, and it may be loaning one in the future, so just know that that's another department that's doing something to help a community who maybe is a little less fortunate. Pickleball courts, I had someone tell me they look really nice, the resurfacing out there, but there were some bubbles. I went and looked, and there are a few bubbles, so we may want to, whoever needs to check that, get back to the contractor. And then I keep beating on this same dead horse. I want to see that Olson Center mural done. So
Yeah.
I want to see if we can't get going on that. It's enough, let's get it done. But I know we have other things to do. That's all.
Steve? I don't really have anything.
Couple things. So I had a couple citizens call me about flags. I talked to Luke about it. But if your yard has a bunch of locate flags in it, don't worry about it. You're not gonna get a mowing fine because you're not pulling those flags out. Trees in the boulevard, I brought it up a couple weeks ago. I don't wanna drop it until I'm told to drop it because we're not gonna do anything, but I am very skeptical of planting all the same type of trees in those boulevards, even to the point where I know we have plenty to do. I'd like to see a few that have been planted be replaced and replanted down the boulevard as they go, so we have a mix of trees. Tree diseases seem to come through in categories and take out a whole block or whatever. Plywood liability. Right now, Mike and Mr. Mayor, who is liable? Because I've been told multiple times that there's gonna be barricades put up until it's open, until it's accepted. I've maybe seen one barricade, and it's weak at best. Maybe 2 barricades. So they're not barricading it, whoever's saying they're gonna barricade it, because it's not open yet. And then who's liable should someone get hurt before it even opens? And then who's liable after it's accepted?
My legal opinion on anybody that's on it now is trespassing, and so therefore we don't have a duty to keep them safe, number one.
Okay,
As a trespasser, we would not be liable.
okay.
Once we accept it, we would be liable. We have insurance on it, and we probably have insurance on it now, to be honest.
Okay. But we're not liable. The city doesn't own that thing, right? Isn't gonna own it. It was always.
We have a
the
28E
foundation.
agreement wherein we accepted that we will insure the trail and we will maintain the trail. So yes, we do have some responsibility on that trail.
Okay, where's this endowment that was supposed to be the savior of all saviors when we were being sold this
The
trail?
endowment's for maintenance, and I assume. the
Okay, but you
Plywood
just said
Trail
that
has it.
you just said that we're liable for the maintenance and upkeep.
We are.
Once
Okay,
it-
so where's
once
the
it's under
endowment?
our domain though, because until we accept the final punch list, the contractor is technically, I won't say the word owner, but they're responsible for it.
Okay.
It's the contractor up until we say we're done with it.
Okay, okay.
But it's also double insured, because I'm sure ICAP has it insured today.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll weigh in on that. I'll let him talk about who's liable, but
Yeah,
as far as
that's-
coverage goes, the city is insured for the rec trail in its entirety, its
Okay.
entire distance for liability. There is also a fair amount of legislated immunity for the city. And Mike can maybe talk a little bit about that, but
yeah.
rec trails, it's similar to skate parks and that
Okay.
kind of thing, where you've accepted this risk
When you go on
when you go on.
it. Okay.
Clark, I
But-
would even add that we were talking about some of the signage that is yet to go up on there. For instance, no motorized vehicle traffic. And if we want those to be consistent, and the city orders them and installs them, but it's part of the phase 1 and phase 1A and 1B, Plywood, no doubt, is going to give the city the money for those signs, even though we don't have the official endowment thing up and running, because it's gonna be all encompassing the entire trail, that endowment. But we have the funds we're working with.
Well, I was looking at, okay, so.
And Jason, just to take this a step further, Jason, you can chime in if you want, but if a 2-foot section of that trail breaks down, the city's gonna go in and fix it.
Absolutely.
And then we would seek reimbursement from Plywood for those costs.
But if a flood
So-
peels up 100 yards of it, like we see in 2 places on our trail in the community, I don't know that the citizens of Lamar should be paying for it. So that's different from 2 foot.
Right.
So that's where I wanna know,
Yeah, I'll also say though, this flood, Plywood actually fared a lot better than Lamar's trail. I mean, as far as actual permanent damage. So, I mean, there's cleanup, yes.
there's no question.
Yeah, so.
In your instance, Clark, I mean, any repairs that need to be made, whether it's a flood or just cracking up, the city's gonna repair it, but we're gonna seek reimbursement from Plywood.
From whatever party, okay, okay. Okay, so that's good. Trees in the boulevard flags, fire chief. I've gotten multiple calls that people don't like an unmarked vehicle. And I think this flood is a perfect example of why your vehicle should be clearly marked who you are. I firmly believe that. I don't,
I got fire rescue magnets made for it now. I just picked them up.
Okay.
Get them made.
well, it should say chief on there so people know that you're, well, I'm dead serious. A few years back, do you remember the Walmart incident where somebody complained to me that you were parked in a fire zone? And you said, I can park in a fire zone because I'm in the vehicle, okay? In this vehicle, that wouldn't have happened. I've gotten multiple complaints, Dave, so I think it needs to be marked. That's me. I don't know what these 4 think. What's that?
This costs money, that's all.
Well, a few stickers is not even a pimple on an elephant's butt.
No, I know, it's just
So-
when we bought the vehicle, it was 43,000, that's what we were budgeted for, and that's what we paid.
Right.
for.
Well, I personally think it needs to be marked, me personally, so. That's it, that's all I got. That's it.
Nothing.
Brad.
None for me.
All right.
Rich to tell.
I want to give you a little bit positive. We do lead and copper testing every 3 years for the DNR. And we got our test results back from this third year, and they all came back extremely well. So, passed with flying colors. Now, that being said, we are going door to door, knocking on doors, getting lead and copper inventory for the EPA for the next 3 years, so they can set different rules and make them a lot harder for us to pass. They do say that 40% of the municipalities that pass now will fail then with the new rules. We did pass with flying colors. We had hardly any lead or copper in our tests, so that's really good. But just to give you guys a little update, we got our results back last week and we did good, so
Congratulations on your grade 4,
thank you.
very much. I hate tests as much as you do, so I can imagine how fun that is. On this knocking on door to door, is that for the people who have not filled out the survey? Or
Yes,
is it for everybody?
It's the ones that have not filled out the survey. We have, I think, 600 left to go. We, out of the 30.
Cooperation?
We haven't got to 600 of them. So we have 1,200 out of the 30, almost 4,000 service connections that have not either refused to fill them out or haven't filled them out. And that 1,200, we haven't been to 600 of the homes. So we're doing really well, really.
Okay.
I'm hoping in the next couple weeks, we should have knocked on every door to where we'll be almost done
Okay.
with that.
Can we backtrack for just a second? Is there any way we can incorporate in that, you guys go in?
If they let us.
Because wastewater obviously has an issue with sump pumps and people pumping into the sanitary sewer system. I'm guessing a lot of homeowners don't even know the difference between the two systems. Is there any way we can aid in finding out and getting them off?
The ones that they let us in their house, we can look. Is that, I mean, that's pretty much all.
But
we
is
can
that a
do.
reason they don't let you in?
I don't know if there is a real reason, one way or the other. I mean, I don't want my guys going into a house if the parents aren't home and don't know.
Oh, I
And the
agree.
kids let them in, I don't want them in there.
I agree.
So unless them kids get a parent on the phone, the parent says it's okay, I don't want my guys going in there at all, just for liability issues.
I get you.
So, you know, we're knocking on doors when there's a chance that there isn't a parent there. So
Okay.
unless them kids call their parent and gives my guys the okay, they're not going in.
Yeah.
So that's probably a lot of it right there, is there's just no adult there at the time.
It's probably too late now, you've got enough doors knocked.
Well, like I said, we got 600 left to go.
I was gonna say, if you would have been able to say, hey, we're coming to this neighborhood next, you might have a flurry of people hurrying and trying to get it done, or maybe
Yeah.
I'm just being optimistic.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think, you know, but I will say, I would say at least 25% of them were letting us in the house to go look at them.
Well, the
So-
reason I'm wondering is because the other issue that we have multiple issues. We have lead, copper, we have salt reduction, and we have sump pumps. And they're all things that this city needs to know.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the sump pumps help with the salt reduction.
What's that?
The sump pumps help with the salt reduction. Not a good way, because then you gotta treat that with more water.
Yeah, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah. But I just want to give you guys an update on that, so.
I know the answer to this question, but the city wells all fared well in the.
We were within, they're 10 feet. That raised about 8 to 10 feet more before it even got to one of our wells. And then it wouldn't have actually infiltrated our wells, it would have taken out our electronics.
Yeah.
So, and we do have, like Dave said, the only thing you would have to worry about with our water not being able to get out to the system would be, we would lose power and our generators would run out of fuel, or have a tornado come through and take something out. We almost all but one of our wells have a backup generator. Our treatment plant's backed up with the generator. Our one tower has a backup generator, so we're covered that way. And they do run every week, just to make sure that when we need them, they do work.
When's our new tower scheduled for, or isn't it yet?
tower scheduled for maintenance?
Excuse me, I take that back. I was thinking well. It was a new well
It's going, actually, it's
27.
being submitted to the DNR right now for approval
for 27.
tomorrow, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what happens if we fail the lead and copper?
Well, right now, we have 30 days to notify the individual that the house that fails, and then they can choose what they want to do. We did have, 3 years ago, we had one of we had to do 20 3 years ago. This year, since we went to 10,000, we had to do 30 this year. One of the 20 failed last year, our last time, 3 years ago, and they went through and redid all their plumbing in their house. So then that actually kicked them off for us to test them this time. So it's up to the homeowner because they own the service line, and they had a lead service line. So, with the new one coming down, they're going to want a plan on what we're gonna do. I don't really know what we can do for a plan because we don't own it. I mean, we can let them know if they gotta replace their service line because it's high in lead and copper or one or the other, but it shouldn't be up to the taxpayers to pay
Right.
for it if we don't, and have never owned the service line.
Right.
So, we'll, hopefully not have to cross that bridge.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Is that covered under insurance? No.
If you have special insurance.
You can get service line coverage.
Well,
If you have that, but if you have that, yes,
But that's still not gonna cover.
that's not gonna cover the fact that it's lead. So, if it sprung a leak. yes.
Sure, that's negative thinking.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned.